Episode 128. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
It's very exciting.
We
have
I like that red border.
I know. Do you see my red border?
Yeah, what's going on with your red border?
How do you get one of those?
I'll give you a red border. You like that?
Oh,
I'll highlight who's talking here. Click on you get a red border.
And that, of course, is podcast listeners don't know what we're talking about. No big deal.
Like unnecessary work. Kyle, would you please highlight the member of the pod that just recovered from COVID-19?
There he is. There he is right there.
For listeners who are not watching the stream on Twitch TV, it is Zach of the Gruesome Twosome.
It's me. I got it.
But
not fun. Not fun.
So
you're totally done with it?
No, well, tomorrow's my last day, is the 10th day. And then I'll be able to go back to work on Thursday. But I would say yesterday and today were definitely by far better days. But it's a weird physical feeling of just still exhaustion and like mental like fogginess. It is unlike anything I've ever dealt with in my entire life. It's freaking crazy.
The way you just described it,
I don't wish it on anybody.
What you just described sounds like parenthood, honestly. But
I'd say Kyle's everyday life.
Everyday life. But no, man, that sucks.
Well,
dude.
That was just the last couple days.
That's crazy.
Did you lose your taste and your smell?
I did not lose my taste and smell.
That's crazy.
But I got pretty much every other symptom that's on the list. So
I feel like the people I know who've gotten it, it's been like a heat-seeking missile of just like taking out their smell and their taste, and like that's it.
Yeah, my doctor told me, expect that around day 5 or 6, and I never lost it, but I would have loved to have lost it if I would have gotten rid of the body aches.
Right.
Well, one of our buddies lost it, and he was eating just like tablespoons of mustard and stuff to test it out because he's like, I can't taste this. I was like, if it wasn't illegal, he should get into a hot wing eating contest or something because you could just crush.
Yeah, I think he even postponed Thanksgiving because he didn't want to have Thanksgiving when he couldn't taste anything.
Yeah.
Maybe Zach never had his taste to begin with.
Maybe. He's like, no, everything just tastes blank, right? Why would it taste?
He just licked his arm. How'd that taste?
Salty.
Hairy.
Oh, not a taste.
Proves my point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, but I turned the corner, listeners. I know you were worried for me. Thank you for all the messages on the Reddit, on my Twitter. I appreciate it. The love. Jamie, I know, sent me a really nice handwritten letter that I framed, and it just, I had it next to my bedside. So in the middle of the night with heat sweats, and I'd wake up and I'd be like, what's going on? I would just hold it tight. And I'd be like, Jamie,
I'd love to see that. Go grab that real quick.
Oh, I'm doing a podcast. I can't.
Oh.
So wait, but did you get the gift card that came with it, or did someone take that?
Gift card?
What? It was an Applebee's gift card that said, enjoy your time at Applebee's when you recover.
You got me an Applebee's gift card? My favorite chain restaurant from Sydney, Ohio.
Oh, really? Is that that's where it's centered? Is that HQ? Applebee's HQ?
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
Not a sponsor.
Not yet. Those local chains, they might get you though. They might get you.
I really don't like Applebee's, so remember that.
Wow.
Yeah,
that might come up later in the episode.
Definitely not a sponsor.
Ooh. Hey. Okay. Wow. So we've got COVID recovery. Glad you're back. Sounds like total BS.
Right.
To deal with. Not BS. I don't know. It sounds like garbage. I wouldn't want to deal with it, man. I don't know what to say.
It's not real garbage or BS? What are you saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. No, I'm not a COVID as a hoax guy. All right.
Kyle said plandemic.
No, he did not.
And he called it a hoax. So
not my words. My words did not come out correctly. I don't know what I'm saying. It sounds like it sucks. All right. It sounds like it sucks pretty bad. And I'm just gonna stop.
Funny comment. I got a cameo for my best friend's bachelor party from Lorenzo Lamas, or Lamas, depends on how you want to pronounce it. because he's one of our favorite actors, mostly tongue in cheek for like the really shitty movies he was in, and the TV show Renegade, and he referred to the pandemic as the plandemic. So
wait, in the
cameo video, he's like, I'm sorry, everything's shaking out the way it has this year, Brad. I still want to wish you the best. This pandemic's really been a bitch for everybody.
Wait, so he didn't, and you didn't write that for him?
I did not write for that for him.
Oh, man, because aren't they supposed to say exactly what you write?
No, not necessarily. You actually only get that. I actually disliked how little you're able to inform the performer of what you're wanting. So I had very little information I could share with him, but I basically wanted him to congratulate my friend and be like our master of ceremonies to like kick off our bachelor party, maybe announce the names of the guys and whatnot, but you really have like no room, and he ended up just kind of going off on this tangent about the pandemic, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Stop saying it. Just stop saying it. You gotta bleep this guy.
Yeah, I know.
That's gonna be a memory for the rest of your friend's life, though. That's awesome.
That's insane.
He loved it.
Well, wow.
I don't know if he liked I guess I need to bleep myself. I don't think he liked it for that reason. But he just loved that cameo. You're able to get video from your favorite athletes and actors. Yeah, he got one from another friend of Josh Cribbs. That was really cool. If there's Browns fans out there that love the heyday of Josh Cribbs running kickoffs back every single week, it felt like, Josh Cribbs does a fantastic cameo for anybody that wants to give a shout out to a Browns fan.
Dude, the Browns. I know we're not a football podcast, but holy
go Browns.
Shit.
Go
wow.
Browns.
That's insane.
I was very emotionally invested in that game by the end of it. And honestly, it ranks up there with some of my Packers games. It was probably like a top 10 sports moment for me, seeing the Browns win that game.
I love any sadness for Pittsburgh, so I was also all in.
Well,
me too.
That shot of Big Ben at the end.
I love it, Kyle. That is one of the best pictures.
Oh my God. Well, I think Bram, you even said it like during the game. You're like, this is literally the most insane thing I've ever witnessed in that first quarter, because it was just like, what is happening right now? Like, literally nobody could have predicted that. I mean,
when they shot up at 28-0,
you would have predicted
it was
the
just
inverse.
Like, get out of here. This is crazy town.
If you heard the score was going to be 28-0 after the first quarter, you'd be like, oh my God, the poor Browns.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, no, the Browns scored 28 points in the first quarter.
No, they look like the best team in the NFL right now.
Oh, it was so good.
I hate the team beat themselves comment, like especially when your team does a great job, goes out there and performs, and then the opposing fan base is like, oh, we beat ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Like, the Steelers really truly did beat themselves in the first quarter of that game. They made so many mental errors. And then the Browns did execute, though, not to take anything from the Browns.
That was the thing. I think the most impressive thing was how they just kept their foot on the gas pedal.
There were 3 or 4 times where the Browns scored where it was like in any previous year, the Browns would have got stuffed there and kicked a field goal. And instead they rattled off touchdown after touchdown after touchdown.
So many good ones.
Landry. I mean, are we a Browns podcast now?
Yeah.
Can we
Does that happen?
Can we be?
Wow, the Browns cast? I mean, I'm a Green Bay fan. Green Bay fan through and through, but if we're going to do a Browns cast, I'm down for that too. So
that would be great.
I can get on board with the Browns just because went to college in Ohio, lived in Ohio for 9 years, so it's like I watched a lot of Browns games.
The Cleveland Browns colors.
I know. I've got Cleveland Browns color stuff. I've got a Cleveland Browns championship bottle on my shelf back here from my grandfather, who's from the Akron area. Yeah. So that's from like 1950s. I've got this 7-Up bottle. I would show you, but I have a green screen and it is a green bottle. So I can show you guys later. It'll make sense. But
yeah, I think that's our podcast, Kyle. It's me and you, people who aren't Browns fans, deciding next season we're just going to become huge Browns fans. And now we got the Super Browns fan podcast.
The Super Brown Bandwagon podcast.
Yeah, or you just jump on that bandwagon.
We're gonna paint that wagon brown.
Yeah, we are.
That's the title. Paint that wagon brown. Done.
Is that episode
and then the next
1?
year we become Reds fans. We'll paint that red.
Cincinnati Reds?
Yeah. For base. Dive.
What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, the artist formerly known as Brom, Jamie the Ointment, Kyle El Capitan, and the Gruesome Twosome present Submersion. You want a shark to take a bite right there at the end?
Yeah, like there's and then it just cuts to it.
Well, that'd be pretty nice.
Be badass.
All right.
You know what? I mean, Zach, you know what really gets you up and going after a long week of COVID exhaustion is a 1943 film over 2 hours long. What did we watch?
Gang, we watched a classic, Bogart classic, Action in the North Atlantic.
That's right. Action in the North Atlantic, a movie I did not know existed and yet was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, actually got a pretty good score on IMDb with a 7.0.
There's a lot of love for this movie, I found out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a place because it was one of these movies that came out during World War II. They pumped them out. They really pumped these out. And a lot of them were geared towards trying to get people kind of jazzed up for different aspects of the war effort. This one had a very clear objective, really elevating a little known part of the, I guess they're not part of the military, right? But adjacent.
They like kind of are, but
are they?
I don't think if you like leave the service, I don't think you're considered a veteran, but
right. But yeah, it really elevates the Merchant Marines. Huge Merchant Marine film. I think it's probably best known in that respect of kind of being like, we're going to go all out. We'll let people know these mother effers were badasses, Merchant Marines.
Yeah, and this is a branch, honestly, I'd never even heard of. I don't know. But they're pretty much like logistics and shipping equipment overseas, getting it to where it needs to be. That's like my loose understanding of it. I think a merchant marine would be like, Kyle, you don't understand it, but it makes sense, right? Anyways, whatever. It stars, as Zach mentioned, Humphrey Bogart as Lieutenant Joe Rossi, Raymond Massey as Captain Steve Jarvis, Alan Hale with maybe one of my favorite names that we've got here. I didn't even realize it till the cast listing, but Boats O'Hara, Julie Bishop as Pearl O'Neill, Dane Clark as Johnny Pulaski, Sam Levine, Adam Levine's great-grandfather as Abel Chips Abrams. That was a lie. Ruth Gordon as Mrs. Sarah Jarvis, Peter Whitney as Whitney Lara, and another amazing real name, Dick Hogan as Cadet Ezra Parker.
Yeah. And so we had seen, who did you recognize in that cast and crew?
Cookie.
Alan Hale.
Cookie. Alan Hale Sr. Cookie. Yeah, it was pretty great seeing him again. He was just as dynamic as we saw last time. I enjoyed him quite a bit. I guess he was
for his son.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, isn't he the father of the skipper?
Little buddy.
Yeah. From Gilligan's Island. He's the father of the skipper.
Wait.
Anyways.
Jamie, it's kind of like I can do it to you almost in the
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Little buddy.
Video, yeah.
Oh, here, hold on.
In the head? Oh no, what happened?
Hit him.
Yeah. Little buddy.
Boom.
Jimmy needs to sit up in his chair a little bit more.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing again? Little buddy.
Jesus. It's just great podcast.
To anyone listening, you have no idea what's going on, but we do stream this live now.
Like
so
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Mac East Studios.
So this was a Humphrey Bogart film. I went on a huge Humphrey Bogart kick when we did a Christmas in Connecticut, and this came up on the Phantom Zone. I was like, Humphrey Bogart, let's go after it. And I watch Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Dead End, the African Queen, and another one.
So not even like the most major ones, right? I mean, you're watching some big ones, but not like the big ones.
No. Well, I mean, African Queen's the only one he won an Oscar for. And then Treasure Sierra Madre won Best Picture. And he's a star of that. I mean, the one that I didn't watch was Casablanca, but that's because I've seen it so many times. I wasn't really looking to watch it again. Anyways, that's Humphrey Bogart. It's funny for him being a leading actor because he's like my size. He's like shorter than me and weighs less than me. And you're like, you were a leading man in Hollywood. It'd be like if I was like, I'm a leading man in Hollywood.
How short? How tall are you?
I'm like 5'11" almost.
Well, I mean, we talk about Tom Cruise, right?
Oh no, I know, but I guess it's one of those things where Tom Cruise, they put him in lifts and stuff like that. They didn't even do that with Humphrey Bogart. They were like, this is who he is. He's got this giant cabeza and these little stick body, and he's like walking around, and everyone loves him. He's Humphrey Bogart. So, anyway,
cabeza, for those who are unskilled in Espanol, means head.
Mm-hmm. He's got a giant head.
Oh,
at least I thought so. That's my opinion. It may not be your opinion. Maybe you think he has a tiny head.
I'm looking at your head right now. I'm trying to figure it out. If your head's about the same as his.
No.
But if my head looks
I'm a perfectly poor proportioned.
If my head looks this big and yours looks that big.
So listeners, because you can't see anything going on right now, our captain is just changing the size of his head.
To be huge. Even huger than normal.
He's just fidgeting right now with the video stream.
Okay. Yes. Let's get into this. We're like way behind schedule.
We're starting the timer right now.
Nice. We are an American oil tanker, the SS Northern Star. It's captained by Captain Steve Jarvis. Now, he seems like kind of a lame-o. He's got like a stick up his butt. He's like, you got a cadet there, Parker. And Parker's like, I'm a cadet. I'm like, whatever. I trained for this stuff. And the captain's like, get out of here. I like experience. And he doesn't like this guy. He's like, Parker, he's a book learner. I don't like that. So anyways, Humphrey Bogart's there, and he's Joe Rossi. And he's like, give him a break. Don't even worry about it. But they're both kind of looking on the sea, and they're like, I'm not liking this this fog. This fog is lame. Let's get more people out there to watch because I have a bad feeling about this fog.
I got a bad feeling about this one.
Yeah.
Well, what's that?
And they go down.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Do you even know what that's from, Jamie?
Is that from Star Wars?
Oh, come on, man.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know what that is.
Man, you're looking more shredded than a julienne salad.
Just tell me later. It doesn't. We can continue on.
Tropic Thunder, man. Come on.
Okay. I've seen the movie, but not more than a couple times. So anyways, they go down and they tell the people, the crew, they're down there, they're playing cards. And Cookie's down there, a.k.a. Boats. And they're all complaining about ladies. They're complaining about life, love. One guy's like, my knee tells me when there's a sub around, and my knee is acting up.
His corns, buddy.
His corns.
People seem to bring up corns a lot in these older movies. Corns.
Yeah, sure. Everyone had corns.
I don't even know what corns are. Is that another word for what?
I think corns are like when you stuff your feet into uncomfortable shoes too long. You develop corn.
Or do you wear corn cobs on your feet?
I think maybe both. Why not both?
I suppose you could. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That's why they call them corns, actually, because the remedy is you wear corn cobs on your feet. They go away.
Oh, well, now I know.
Anyways, they're like, hey, bros, get up there. We got to, watch for some subs in the fog. And everyone's like, oh, lame. One guy's got a cat. He's like, I like my cat. He's like, my name's Brom. And he pets his cat. And then another guy's like, I got my record player. And he's playing these records. And it's like a lame-o song. He keeps playing it. Everyone's like, shut the hell up. We don't want to hear your stupid record. And anyways, I get people up there, and they're a little worried. They're like wondering, like, are they worried about subs? Are they worried about subs? Smash cut. We're in a sub. Nazi sub. Coming along. And they're like, that tanker's looking a little tasty.
Yeah, because did anybody hear a record playing? Yeah, dead giveaway.
Yeah.
And I think I smelt a cat.
They're like, fire 1, fire 2, NBD. Don't even need 3 and 4. We're hitting that mother effer. And they send it off, and it blows this oil tanker to effing smithereens. And sometimes in these older films, you get scenes in these kind of stuff where you're just like, I don't even know how they did this. It's amazing. Because it's this giant ship set that they built. And there's fire everywhere. Explosions, fire. And if you were going to watch one thing from this movie, I'd be like, watch that opening sinking scene. It's
my gosh,
great. I love it.
The scenes they do in this movie, just like all together with explosions, with the ships and lighting fires on it. It is amazing. I was watching it. Flooding, wow, this is like Deepwater Horizon of the 1940s. Like this whole thing is just engulfed in flames. It was amazing.
Yeah. So anyways, they're all trying to escape. And the captain is that they're holding out. And they eventually are like, okay, we got to get out of here. They know people have died in the engine room or something like that. One guy gets trapped because he's trying to pack up his record player. Like the one guy's able to get his cat out real quick and get out the door, but the guy's packing up his record player, and the water pressure closes the door and he can't get out. And it's like, oh shit, is this guy going to die because of this effing record player?
Yes.
And then someone comes by and is able to rescue him. Like, oh, phew, he's not going to die because of that stupid record player, like a Dumbo. And then they go up and they're like looking around and everyone else is like gone out in their lifeboat and jumped off. And there's all these fire. And so it's a great set. But they're running around. They're like, hey, look, there's just 2 people up there. And they realize there's no way to get off the boat. They're the ship. They've got to jump off and swim under the fire because the oil is all out there on fire. They got to swim under this fire oil and try to get to the lifeboat. And they do. But the guy who got trapped because his record player still dies. And the other guy whose cat, he's like, where's my cat? Where's my cat? And the cat couldn't swim and died or whatever.
Yeah, so that's not great. One of the funnier things, like this is a very serious scene in this movie, but I thought it was super funny because the captain was running back and he's like, there's people back there, I gotta go save them. And somebody's like, you don't have to go down with the ship or whatever. And then they look out at this bridge, it's in flames, and there's just this huge explosion. And he's pretty much like, you're right.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm not going.
I've assessment, and I actually don't think there's anyone down there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't see anyone.
Yeah.
So let's go.
All right, cool.
And so while they're in the boat, they are kind of flipping off and doing a bunch of you to the U-boat.
Why and the captain, I oughta.
Yeah, and the U-boat captain's not liking it so much, and it's like, let me plow my U-boat into your effing lifeboat. Get out of here. And they do, and they crush the lifeboat, and they're like, we're going to come back for you, and someday I will kill you. And that's what the captain says. Even though he got a stick up his ass, he knows about revenge. Ugh.
There's one thing all sailors know about. It's revenge.
Vengeance. And so anyways, they get home. They're adrift for a long, long time, but they're able to get rescued. They show some scenes of the plane going by and picking them up or whatever. And so then they go home, and Jarvis, he goes home to his wife, and they're the biggest nerds. Oh man, they're like, oh boy, I sure did miss you. Oh man, I sure do love my house with my dog, and I'm gonna sleep. Oh, leave me to rest, honey. And the woman's like, oh, it's so hard to see you go and all this stuff. And I was like, well, you're high school sweetheart nerd alerts, and they were giant nerd alerts. Then they show Joe Rossi, Humphrey Bogart, and he's smoking cigs, going to a bar, and he's like, I'm the coolest man on earth. Bow! And there's a lady who's singing at the bar, and he's like, yes, I'm interested. And she's like, I'm not interested in you. You're like a butterfly. And he's like, how about this? Because there's one guy kind of yelling during her singing set, and he's like, hey guy, come over here. I'll let you know about something. And then he just punch him in the face and knocks him out cold.
This is the weirdest punch ever in a movie, though, right? Because the guy's hunched over, and then he kind of just twitches real fast and totally knocks him out. I was like,
it's the 1-inch punch. He's the black belt.
I mean, this is the equivalent right here. Bruce Lee's got nothing on Humphrey Bogart action in the North Atlantic.
Yeah. So then the lady's all like, I'm still not necessarily totally into you, but maybe you can hang around. And even the bartender's like, oh Jesus, this guy, because he's slamming back the whiskey and smoking. But we come to find that maybe it's a match made in heaven.
Oh, because she loves smoking. She loves whiskey. She loves the 1-inch punch.
Yeah. That's good.
The 1-inch punch?
Yeah.
I want that on a shirt.
So then we also go over to the Union Hall, because one of the things is, all these merchant marines, their ship went down, but they're waiting for the next ship to come along. They don't know if they're going to be in the same ship together or whatever, but they're kind of just playing poker, waiting for them to call out who they need on different ships. It's we need a whatever person. Oh, it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. And one of the guys there, it keeps on having his position announced, and they're like, yo, bro, didn't you hear it the last 3 times? Like that, your position's needed. And he's like, kind of goes off on being like, we don't get any of the accolades of the people in the Navy. We don't get the awards. All we do is risk our lives, and we're probably going to get sunk by a submarine. And I've got a family. I've got a baby on the way. Why do I want to do that? Maybe I should just go and do something else. Like, this is super dangerous. And they're all like, then get the hell out of here. And they like almost like fisticuffs going at this
they
point.
get extremely upset with him over this.
Yeah. And he's like, well, what is it such a big deal? Like, I've got a family. Should I really be whatever? And so anyways, they announce that they're going to be launching a new Liberty boat, this new fancy Liberty boat. And they're like, oh, we want to get on that Liberty boat. It's going to be sexy. And they hear all the different positions being announced, like, oh boy. And they all run up there. And, people are like Cookie, aka Boats. He gets assigned or whatever. His wife comes, or his ex-wife or whatever. They're in the middle of a divorce. Comes and he's like, oh boy, that's my wife. Am I right? And that's like his whole thing. And then the guy who was like thinking he wasn't going to be on the ship anymore was like, basically like, I changed my mind. And he also
money's money. Let's get on this boat.
Yeah. So then Jarvis goes and sees Joe, and he's like, yo, Joe, we got a new boat. We're ready to go. I want you as my co-captain. What you say? And he's like, ready to do it. But then he like Jarvis meets like his this little lady, the singer, and it's basically like, sorry, ma'am, sorry to break this to you, but Joe, a little bit of lazy man, basically leaving you. Don't even worry about it. Hope you guys have
He's
fun.
done this 1,000 times. He slept with everybody on the planet Earth, and you're just nothing special. And she's like, well, what about
here's the name of a
wedding ring?
Right. And she's like, whoa. And he's basically like, definitely go see my wife, be bestie friends with her. She'd love you, probably. But Joe's got to come with me, and it's time for us to own these Nazis. And she's like, whoa. And it's basically like, here's a picture. Go bash some Nazis.
Yeah.
And so then they're on the boat. They have a giant convoy. And it was actually, this is where the movie had originally been conceived as a documentary on the Merchant Marines. And here's where you can kind of see that, where they have a bunch of stuff with this giant convoy and how it's all structured and stuff like that. And it's pretty nuts. It's like 40 ships or something.
It was huge,
ships.
Massive.
Yeah.
And something that's like also interesting to me is with the Merchant Marines is they're operating the ships, pretty much running the show, but then they do get Navy sailors on board to run defense and operate the weapons and that type of stuff.
Yeah, there was some interesting scenes where they were kind of showing how it had been like 6 months of intensive training to get them ready to operate these kind of 5-inch guns and these different guns that they had on the ship. And the Merchant Marines were all kind of making fun of them, like, oh, look at these guys with their, little gun or whatever. And they're like, well, you got to learn it too, because we don't know, people might die, and then you've got to be able to man this and load this and crush Nazis.
And you think, like, from the drills they're running, you think that these guys would just, it looked easy, right? They're like, oh, open the hatch, throw the bullet in. But then the Merchant Marine guys were just really struggling. I was like, come on, it's not that difficult, is it?
Yeah, it's just like it's a clockwork. They could figure it out. But anyways, they go up to Nova Scotia, and they all meet, and they're basically telling them how, like, you're going to use flags to communicate, and sometimes a megaphone, and sometimes we'll use lights, and sometimes we'll do this. But always remember who's on your left and right, who's on the front, fore and aft, and all this kind of stuff. And basically keep in formation, and they have all these different intricate plans of what happens if they can't stay in formation. And they're like, great. And it's a very long scene. It's probably why this movie was over 2 hours long, was explaining in minute detail exactly how this convoy was going to work. Yeah,
they did not leave any stone unturned here.
No, even to the point where they're going along. Convoy seems great. They seem to be having a good old time. They're chit-chatting, people like having their time on the boat. And then they, there's some fog. And they're like, oh, how are we going to deal with fog? And they kind of explain it. And there's like a boat that almost comes and hits them.
You know who it is?
Hey, man.
You know who messes it up?
Who?
Michael Caine would be all over these guys. Mr. Nigel Powers. The Dutch.
Thought I smelled cabbage.
Isn't that about Mini-Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways, they... and
they're loaded with, like, explosives. So if these two ships collide...
Yeah, they've got giant tanks on their thing. They've got planes. They've got explosives all up in their hole. This thing would go up like a torch.
What did you just say?
So anyways.
Yeah, I heard something.
Yeah, I did
like
too.
A torch? A torch?
No, back it up. Back it up before that.
They had tanks, and they have all kinds of explosives. If they got hit, they go up like a torch.
Okay, I think you said they have explosives up their hole.
Did I say that?
I think you did. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go.
That's good. No, that's not offensive, right?
No, it's not offensive. It's just it's a bizarre way
in their hold.
It.
But anyways.
Typical Friday night for me.
Yeah. So there's anyways, they end up getting kind of tracked by not just one U-boat. So we see like that captain we saw before. We're like, oh, that son of a bitch. Like, I can't wait for Jarvis to get his hands on him. But then there's not just one U-boat. How many U-boats are there? Is there two?
No.
Is there three?
No.
Is there 4 U-boats?
There are not.
It's that goddamn wolf pack. That's what it is.
Millions.
I don't even know how many are in there.
There's a lot.
How many is in a wolf pack? Like a million?
I think so. That's how it works.
I lost my train of thought. So millions of they
subs.
They're sinking stuff. They're blowing stuff up. The Dutch up like a torch, I think.
Sorry about your luck, boys.
Yeah, but our guys, they get hit. They get hit a couple times, I think, right? Yeah, and then they go off. They scoot off, and do a bunch of distractions. Like they do a little trickery, right? Is this the point where they do trickery? No.
So they get completely separated from.
Yeah. Okay. At this point, they just get separated.
Yeah, they get separated from the rest of the convoy because like it is hitting the fan in the convoy. Right. Explosions are left and right. This wolf pack is tearing through these people like mad. But then we're also getting a lot of incredible scenes like depth charging, really big explosions, all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, this is, dare I say it, action in the North Atlantic, and that's what we've got here. Plenty of.
Yeah, it was a very long scene too, because I was making dinner while I was watching it, and I made my entire dinner just while this battle was going on. It's kind of great.
And then you make a souffle?
Yeah, yes, I made a souffle.
Interesting.
Yeah, a meat souffle actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, savory and sweet.
You're on another level, my friend.
Anyways, they get separated, and they're like, okay, there's a rendezvous point, but we can't go there because we can't leave the submarine back there. We're going to lead the submarine away. They're going to be tracking us. They want to get this Liberty ship. They know we're sexy shit. We look at us, and they're like basically hiking up their like dress, like look at these Liberty legs. This is a Liberty ship. Come after us, U-boat. And the U-boat captain's like, oh boy, and you know what's coming out of his pants when he sees a Liberty ship. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, I think you're right. Little snorkel peeking out.
That's right. He's got a snorkel up. He's like, whoa, let's go after that Liberty ship. They lead him away. And they're basically going, and they're like, we're done. Once it's night, they're going to just come up on us. Like right now, we can keep steady. Every time we slow, they slow. Every time we speed up, they speed up. Basically, they're waiting till night because they don't want to come too close because they're going to shoot them with their deck guns.
And they've been doing that. They have been keeping them at a distance. So they know they're out of range, but they can get close enough to be like, don't you come any closer.
And they're basically, Jarvis is like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know. Only a genius would be able to figure this out.
And Joe's Bogart is just like, I think I've got a plan.
He's like, what do a submarine do? They go deep, but what else do they do? And everyone's like, what? They run silence. And they're like, hey, come here. And they get the guy who's in the engine, and he's like, can you run silent? He's like, only if we want to die. And they're like, no, it won't even be your fault if we do die. But run it silent, they won't be able to. And he's like, oh, you're right. So then it becomes nighttime, and they turn off all the engines, and the submarine's like, where do they go? It just seemed kind of funny because they're like, what the fuck?
Especially now. I mean, I know it's going to be really dark out there and stuff, but World War II and all that, most people, if you haven't listened to the show a bunch, you might not know, but these older submarines run on the surface pretty much like 90% of the time, and they only dive to attack and evade. So they'd be watching them the whole time. But I don't know, whatever. I mean, night vision goggles weren't invented, right? I don't know.
Yeah. They were cruising around, and they were like, we don't know where they are. We do get a little bit of a scene of people kind of like, one guy wants to keep his cat safe, so he puts him directly into a lifeboat. With
he brought another cat.
Yeah, he got another cat.
He's like, hey, that other one died. Check this guy out. His name's Chief. I'm like, oh, that's a fun name for a cat.
Yeah, they're also like, you're an idiot if you bring another cat to die.
Something he does later, though, we'll talk about when everything really hits the fan. A second time.
So anyways, he puts this cat in a lifeboat. It's like, oh, stay safe or whatever. And then they start
that's the worst place, right? If you're in danger and you're about to hop into a lifeboat, you're about to just literally jump into a lifeboat, right? You're not going to notice if there's a kitten sitting on the seat. This is the worst idea.
Brom, where would you put your cat to keep it safe?
If I had a cat on a submarine?
Yeah,
no, you're not on a submarine.
No, you're on the merchant marine ship.
Oh, yeah.
And you're worried about a submarine sinking you.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It is a good question. I know.
You're a cat owner. Come on.
I wouldn't want to like put it in its own like life preserver or something like that, because what if you all die and now the cat just kind of has to starve at sea?
I think what we learned here,
I'd put it in like a book bag or something.
A book bag?
Yeah, I think I'd put exactly. I think you put it in a little book bag or something. You put it just near where you could get out, right? Like you could quickly run down some stairs, grab the book bag, and get out and get back into life. So it's still underneath and not making all kinds of loud meowing sounds for submarines to hear. And yet you can still grab it.
Do you think a submarine would hear a cat meowing on a submarine?
Well, no, but they do hear when they start fighting over that cat meowing and drop a very loud chain into the water. Yeah. That's what they do here.
But it also depends if the sonar tech was a marijuana user from the Wolf's Call, he could hear it.
Right. He'd be like, that's a cat.
He's like, dude, and somebody's got Cheetos back there.
Yeah, man. Anyways, so the submarine, I mean, they aren't able to get a beat on the Liberty ship, and they decide, you know what? We know where they're going. They're heading to, where were they going again?
Russia.
Yeah, Russia. They're like, we know where they're going. They're going around this area. So let's head them off. We'll go up there and we'll attack them when they start coming around the corner. And so light comes up. They don't see the submarine. They're like, okay, we'll continue on. Hopefully we don't get attacked when we go around the corner. So anyways, they go along. All of a sudden they hear, what's that? Some airplanes. And they're like, is it our friends? Answer, no chance.
Not at all.
German airplanes, Luftwaffe, I think how you say it. And they attack, and they're able to shoot them down. But like one of the planes is able to kill some people, and the other one, when it's shot down, with the help of Parker, the cadet, who I haven't even really talked about, but now respected by the crew, and the guy who was thinking about not going on the ship at all. They are like helping shoot it down, and the plane crashes in, kills Parker. And the other guy gets unscathed. And Jarvis, the captain, gets shot like a whole bunch of times. Like, oh, look at him. He's dead. When he's dead, he's got shot a million times. But no, he just injures his leg or whatever.
I did find that kind of bizarre. Like, if this were a movie today, he should have died, I would think.
Yeah. But then Joe takes command, and that's kind of has its own purpose as well. Where, like, Joe always was like, I'm not a captain. Look at whatever. Like, I'm not interested in that. I like being in the position I am. I'm not serious like Jarvis. And Jarvis is like, this is your time to shine, man. See what you got.
And he's like, I got it all, baby, because we're about to just win. He's like,
yeah.
Okay.
So U-boats come, they attack, and they actually do hit the boat. But they're like, hey, did anything happen? And they're like, some things are on fire, but we're okay. We can handle it. And Joe's like, are you sure? Because we're going to light the deck on fire. We're going to send out a bunch of SOS signals, and that's going to bring the submarine up to the surface. And then we're going to get vengeance. We're going to own that submarine.
Just the way they did us.
And so it does. It comes on up. They want to view. They're like, oh, let's watch this Liberty ship sink. It should be good. Good show. They come up with their popcorn. They're munching their popcorn. Mm-hmm. Goddamn, love this popcorn. That's what they're saying. It's just a line from. Did you have that clip from the movie?
I love this popcorn.
Yeah.
I can't remember. You have to do it. Just think about it in a German accent, and then you basically got to figure it out.
It's like, oh, look at these blueberries, and there's like that.
Yeah, they spot on, Jamie.
No, thank you. And so, anyways, they surface. They're going to finish the job in this, and then it comes out and rams that submarine, just like the submarine rammed the lifeboat before, and takes it out. And they have a whole scene of even the captain being in like the submarine, and all the water's rushing in. He's like, "Oh no, these blueberries!"
Yes, just yeah. Because everybody knows blueberries aren't good when they get wet, right? You got to eat them kind of.
That was what he was mostly concerned with at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they go further on. There's some more planes. Like, oh, are those our friends? And then they're like, yes. And I got really confused because then it showed like an airplane and there's like a Russian person. I was like, oh no. Then I forgot. Yeah. But that was actually
It's a sign of the times, Jamie. Right. They were okay with us back then.
And then they sail into Russia. Cookie's like, look at those ladies. I'm ready to bone. And then and Joe is like, oh boy, think about the trip back home. Which actually led into the sequel. Not so much action in the North Atlantic, where it just was like a regular, peaceful time home.
Not as exciting of a movie, but still a movie.
Yeah, the only action on that one was Cookie, who brought his Russian bride back.
Oh, wow. That is action in the North Atlantic, the 1943 Oscar-nominated classic. Not Oscar-winning, right? Oscar-nominated.
No, it did not win. It got nominated for Best Screenplay.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's what it is then. So, who wants to go first? Zach, you've looked alive for most of this.
You have.
Some watchers even have said you do look like you're asleep. So that is, after I mentioned you looked asleep, they confirmed.
Well, you know what I have to say to them?
Huh.
Shut up.
Oh, okay.
Were you like hinting that I go first?
I don't know. You don't have to go first at all. It's been a while. You need to ease back into it probably. I can go first.
I'll go. Whatever. I'll keep this short and sweet. You know how I feel about these old movies. Not to mention the fact that I've been kind of under the weather last week, but I did manage to watch it. I did not fall asleep through it. And for a black and white classic film, as Kyle called it, it was good. I did enjoy it. Then again, my brain's been trailing off a lot this week. So maybe it just hit me in the right time in my life where I've just been laying around most days. But no, it wasn't bad. I liked Humphrey Bogart. I liked the scenes. The dialogue was solid. I mean, it's a war film. It's like a propaganda war film, right? I mean, it's cool. It told a unique part of World War II. You know, I never really think about merchant marines and stuff like that. So at least it wasn't like same old shit. So I liked that. And I mean, really, the ending was awesome. When the shot when the ship was going through the black smoke and it came out, that was awesome.
That's my favorite. That was
I
tweeted that out. It is so good looking.
It's a really good shot. Like that was badass. So it really like culminated at the end, and then there wasn't some big long drawn out story time at the end. It was like they jammed it, they moved on, they were escorted, it ended. So I mean, war movie, lots of sub action, some really cool scenes. What is it, 1943? So I mean, you're thinking like what, 4 years before that, The Wizard of Oz came out. So I mean, this is good. I liked it. I did. I'm gonna give it. I mean, out of the black and white movies we've seen, I would actually watch this one again. So I'm going to give this one like a 7.3.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's really high for you.
Again, maybe it hit me in the right week, but I liked it. So
you really connected to the experience of that trip, the trek that they had. You were like, okay, in the beginning, it was kind of before I had COVID, but all of a sudden I'm separated from the rest of humanity with my COVID experience. And then at the end, you come through and you end up in Russia.
I mean, the last week I've watched a handful of movies and shows, and I'd say this and Toy Story 4 stand out. So,
classic combination.
Yeah.
All right, I can go next. I will say I enjoy these. I enjoy these old ones. This one's not necessarily the best. I think, that propaganda aspect to it can sometimes it was very long as a result because they integrated all these like kind of exposition parts to explain the Merchant Marines, and there actually was documentary footage in it actually showing ships going and stuff like that to kind of mix with the stuff that's all entirely on the soundstage and stuff like that. So, if they could have cut out all that stuff, tightened up the story, maybe an hour and 45 minutes, I would have liked it a little bit better. But I thought the acting was good. Love me some Humphrey Bogart. He's just so suave, suave and sexy. He's like a Jamie type character, if you will.
Interesting.
So I enjoy him.
Interesting you'd choose you, huh?
What? No, I'm trying to think of the person that most comparable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be just like a rebel. Like in general, I don't have a cause for my rebelliousness.
Interesting.
Yeah. So no, I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. Wouldn't be the best one. Like I'd like Run Silent, Run Deep, Destination Tokyo. Those ones kind of top out a little bit higher, but I enjoyed this one. I think it's good. I'm going to come in at a 7.
Very good. Very good. Brown, do you want to go or you want me to go?
I guess I'll hop in. Would you agree that Boats O'Hara is most reminiscent of Kyle?
I think Boats is, but only when he changed his careers later and became a cook.
Oh, so Cookie.
When he was Cookie. The Cookie version of Boats.
And I would be Raymond Massey because I'm weird looking, and Zach would be Dick Hogan for obvious reasons.
Obvious.
That makes sense.
I'll take it.
Dude, Raymond Massey looked like Timothy Olyphant, I think is his name.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing.
I was like, wow, dude, if you remade this today, it has to be Timothy Olyphant, man.
And who's that? Who am I? Am I the sexy lounge singer?
I thought you just said you're Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, well, I am. But can I also be the sexy lounge singer?
No, you did such a good job. I think you have to be on that U-boat screaming about blueberries or whatever.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because my great accent.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
That would make the movie.
Yeah, I can jump in though. This movie was a bit long for me. You mentioned the propaganda aspect, which actually is kind of always interesting to see how they portray life in the military in a way to draw youth and young men into armed services. I guess my question, you mentioned me with the cat there, we've seen this now where people have brought cats and mice and birds and stuff on the boats. Is this even allowed in the military? I'd find that hard to believe. You can just like show up with an animal, like, yeah, I'm going to bring an animal on the boat with me. It's my shtick.
I think it being allowed is sometimes besides the point because I think they're breaking the rules by doing it.
I don't think you march onto the ship with a cat under your arm, right? You hide it in a cake, and then when somebody tries to cut in that cake, you're like, "Don't touch that cake," you know?
Right.
Well, you're making a propaganda film here, aren't you?
Like Kyle really likes that cake.
Aren't you almost encouraging people to break the rules and just like, hey guys, I brought my Great Dane with me. It's too late for me to drop him back off at the house. So I guess he's gonna have to hop on the boat with us.
Is this a secret rant against like what is it, therapy dogs or whatever?
No, I'm just saying. Can I just show up with a Great Dane and get on a submarine?
Maybe.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Doesn't hurt to try, man.
Yeah, no, I think the birds actually had a function though.
Well, yeah, because if they died, then everybody's like, "We're next."
Oh, that's right. I remember.
But I mean, we have seen a lot of animals on subs on boats. I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah, man.
An homage to Noah's Ark, perhaps.
Metaphor.
Sure. I liked the end as well. I thought it put a nice bow on it. Aside from the Russians babbling in Russian and no subtitles, at least what I watched didn't have subtitles. So I'll just take their word for it that they were saying nice things about us. And I'm going to give it I'll give it a 6.
March on down.
All righty. I will caboose this thing right now. So, action in North Atlantic. Like I'd mentioned in the recap, the opening scene, we have all the explosions and everything, to me was so reminiscent of recent movie Deepwater Horizon. If you've seen that, I mean, get ready for that, like 1943. And I was blown away by how good this looked in 1943. I mean, insane. Crazy. That scene, I mean, you're watching it, you're like, wow, you know, this actually feels, although it's black and white, like you feel the intensity of this scene. And then, like, when we got off the boat, we had like 50 minutes of a lull where it was just kind of like, okay, we're just going around doing whatever, and I don't want to go back out on the sea. Okay, well, I'm going to go back out on the sea because I need the money, whatever. And then the action picked back up with the convoy and that wolf pack coming in. And again, the action was absolutely incredible. The depth charging scenes and all that. And that shot in particular that Zach talks about where they have just completely smoked out literally everything. And then the ship just cuts through it like a knife. I was like, my word, that is so good. I put that shot's on our Twitter. I put a picture up there of it. Check it out. It looks so amazing. And then I'm blown away also at the filming of a lot of these old movies, like the plane scenes when you got the Germans and the Russians coming in, because not a lot of, you're not doing computer animated graphics, nothing CGI like everything is now. I know, it's shocking, Jamie. It's not. So that, I think, is just absolutely incredible, the lengths that people have to go through to film. I wish we didn't have that 50 minutes. I think we all mentioned it could be a little bit shorter, just some of the stuff in there. You're like, well, why are we doing this necessarily? But ultimately, a very solid installment in what we've seen in classic movies. Different, because we haven't seen Merchant Marines. You know, we've seen a very similar story in like 15 other movies that we've watched. And I say that because there's been some that have been so far different that they're not anywhere close. Adult films, animes, those types of things. Mm-hmm. Totally different storylines than we're used to. But this I thought was really well done in the action scenes. It's called Action in the North Atlantic. Got a lot of good actors. Everything was done really well. I'm going to go ahead and give it like a 7 also. I'm going to come in at a 7.
All right.
This was pretty consistent among us, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Good, solid. I think it's a good, solid movie. It's interesting because then I watched a bunch of other ones where I'm like, whoa, like Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which is like super fun to watch. And so it's not quite that. It's not like a super classic, but it's
it's
got
good.
Some nice stuff there. Yeah.
Hey, what makes a classic?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about the rewatchability. I can watch Casablanca all the time, and then Treasure of the Sierra Madre, it's just like an adventure film, and every scene has its own thing that's kind of going on with it. But I feel like it could always, you just turn it on. And I actually feel like early Hollywood, a lot of it was rewatchability. Like Gone with the Wind is a reason why people were like, every week I'm going. And so,
what's a recent movie that you like actually released new that you would say will be a classic that has high rewatchability factor?
How far back do I have to go?
I don't know, 5-10 years.
5 to 10 years, huh?
I mean, 1 to 10. I don't know. Like I'm thinking 21 Jump Street. I love that movie. I watched it.
Good. Well, I mean, but would you call it a classic? My mind instantly went to Snakes on a Plane because it's like you can watch that movie like every day of the week. It's so good.
I love when they throw the disc golf disc into the river on 21 Jump Street.
Oh, they hand it to the kid, and then they're just like, "You go get your stupid disc," and they whip it.
Yeah. That made that movie a classic for me. I think I'm going to agree with Zach. I think that's the most recent classic I've seen.
There we go. Perfect. It's settled.
21 Jump Street.
I was quoting it. The Bakugan. You guys dealing drugs? It's like, what are you guys doing in here? Playing Bakugan. Bakugan. You dealing drugs?
Yeah. Dude, Channing Tatum in that movie is absolutely hilarious. Like, that's what shocked me the most. So I was like, wow, that guy is so funny.
You shot him in the dick. Who does that? That's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. You're a rock star.
Oh,
you're so
gosh.
cool.
Or I can't remember the guy's name, but the teacher, he's a super famous guy, Rob, right? What's his name? Rob Riggle. When they're talking to him and they're on drugs and like his eyebrows crawl around his face and go into a mustache. Just like,
stop breathing on me, kid.
Yeah. Put your tongue back in your mouth.
Put your tongue back in your mouth. Stop that. Actually, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Classic, you know.
Alrighty.
Classic.
All right. I'm going to get some trivia, whether you guys like it or not.
No. Just because I have COVID doesn't mean I'm not ready for my segments.
I thought we already skipped over that.
Hit it.
Okay.
He's got it finally.
Hey. No music though?
I don't hear it.
No, you don't get any music on that yet.
Just the visual. Okay.
It's a work in progress. And I am also working on all the transitions because I recently was like, oh, hey, I can steal my wife's computer and she's got a little program that I can make them on. So it's like, I got to get that done.
Got to get that. Okay. So love it, hate it. What do we want to hear first?
We all had a lot of love. So I think we should do another love and then leave it on a hate it to let people, decide.
I like it, Kyle. Okay. It's been a while, gang. Love it. This comes from USMMAKP, May 2006. Great story of merchant marines as service and individuals. Wait, I'm sorry. Great story of merchant mariners as service and individuals. I am a proud graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, Kings Point. I am also a retired U.S. Navy captain. The screening of action in the North Atlantic was an annual event at Kings Point, since one of the characters was a cadet serving sea time as part of his training. Cadet Parker well represents the 142 cadet midshipmen who were killed in action in World War II. Kings Point is only federal academy, which is thus authorized to carry a battle flag with their color guard. The characters are real, and Warner Brothers could not have picked a better cast. This movie was and is only one of a handful which tried to show the contribution of the merchant marines during the war. I particularly liked the scene where Alan Hale tries to explain to a couple of his shipmates the meaning of the word rendezvous. They don't make them like that anymore. I still watch this flick every time it screens. 10 out of 10.
Wow, man.
Very solid review.
Some good love. A little Alan
There's a lot
Hale
of love,
man.
There's a lot of positive reviews for this film.
Whole lot of love. Bum, bum,
However,
bum, 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 bum.
when there's love, there's what, guys?
There's hate.
Yes. And it took a little bit, but I found I hate it. This comes from I don't want to read the guy's name, but it comes from an Amazon review. So this is a 1 out of 5 stars.
Is it an inappropriate name or something?
No, it's like literally just like a John Smith name. Like there's no funny nickname. So I'll just say John Smith. Let's just say that.
All right.
John Smith on Amazon titles his 1-star review as "Will not play correctly." This was reviewed June 21st, 2015. The disc will not play in either my DVD player or in my PS3 console. 1 out of 5.
All right.
I mean, I gotta agree.
All right. So I read a lot of reviews when I'm buying things, like most people do, right? And people get on there and they'll write a review. If something is like damaged in shipping, they're like 1 out of 5. Garbage.
Yeah.
Like, no. What?
That's stupid, right?
Did you actually use it? Like, what is this? Did you actually ever watch this movie? Your disc doesn't play. I get it. Yeah. Maybe it's a product review. I've got this product. It doesn't play.
Yeah, when I give a bad review online and I log in, I go to Google reviews and I leave them a 1 star, it's because the quality sucks for whatever I got.
Yeah. Not because like somehow in shipping it got crushed or whatever. That's completely out of someone's control. Whatever.
Yeah, welcome to Amazon Cast, where we review people's Amazon reviews.
I like that. Hey, that's not a bad idea, Jamie. Is this something for the podcast? Yeah,
that would be a great podcast episode. we each get a Amazon review where we really rake them over the coals.
I would love to do that. You know what? Oh man, I would love to review people's shitty reviews. Okay.
Well, that's only one episode of the podcast, though.
We need to do a spin-off of that episode.
Go read about sugar-free Haribo gummy bears.
Oh yeah, dude, those are hilarious.
The funniest.
I remember that.
The funniest reviews you're ever gonna find.
Yeah. Word.
Should I get some trivia going?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Finally. And so yes, as I mentioned, this was originally supposed to be a short documentary, but as the war continued and they hadn't yet started making the film, there was so much action footage becoming available and more advisors and stuff for the film, they decided, let's make this a feature. They originally cast Edward G. Robinson and George Raft as the starring roles, but they were pulled to different projects, and so they brought in Raymond Massey and Humphrey Bogart the same year that he made Casablanca. Probably the most prominent or famous story from this is the director. So this was actually directed by multiple people. Lloyd Bacon directed most of it, but his contract actually expired while it was filming because it went over. It actually went 45 days over schedule. So for the last bunch of days, they were trying to figure out his contract, but when it broke down, he was fired, and they brought in Byron Haskin, and then apparently even Jack L. Warner, the Warner guy, the guy who ran Warner, he even came and did some directing. It sounded like.
Really? So it's kind of a hodgepodge of directors here.
Yes. And then what was some of the other? Oh yeah, as mentioned, this was shown a bunch at in the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, mentioned in the previous review, as official kind of morale plus training type of stuff, kind of showing the history of how cadets contributed to the war effort and stuff like that. And then, as we said, this was nominated for Best Writing, technically Best Original Story. In the Academy Awards. At the time, there were actually many Best Writing categories. So it's Best Writing Original Screenplay, Best Writing Original Story, and then Best Writing Screenplay. So Casablanca won Best Writing Screenplay. This was in a different category, Original Story. It lost to The Human Comedy that year. But another film in that category that was nominated, Destination Tokyo.
Oh, really?
So 2 submarine movies nominated for Best Original Story.
I love that movie. It's a good one.
Pretty good year.
That is a really good one. What is that? Like I can't remember. 15th, 14th episode? No, it wasn't 15th. 16th episode?
21.
I think it's 16th. But that was the first movie, I think, from the 40s that we watched, right? Blew me away.
I think that was right.
That was amazing.
So then we can play the little Phantom Zone sound.
Engage the Phantom.
Give me a picture.
Engage, sir.
And yeah, we don't have to really do too much for that one, just because how we even kind of landed on this movie or thought about this movie or came onto our list was because it was in a Phantom Zone for Christmas in Connecticut. So I know I can connect it to whatever the hell I want. It was kind of funny too, because when I originally thought about action in the North Atlantic, I was like, wait, wasn't that an Ed Harris movie? But then it turned out it was a different action in the North Atlantic, if you know what I mean. Wink.
Oh, Ed's early films.
Yeah. When he was still a vaudevillian with his brother.
Good Lord.
Oh, and then does anyone want to do? We can skip trivia if you guys want to do it, but
I thought we were doing trivia.
Oh, I can do trivia. There is. I'm loving finding categories where you guys are getting them all wrong. So let's find out how many you get wrong in this one.
Bring it on, man.
Hey, I got one right in the one that you thought we would all get everything.
That is true. You are some kind of gem expert. What was that one you got? Made no sense.
It was the surrealism one.
Yeah, surrealism.
Oh, yeah.
So there was this is a 2006 Jeopardy episode where the entire first round, Jeopardy round, was based on Humphrey Bogart. So one category is called Casablanca. The next, We Are No Angels. The next, The Big Sleep. the next 3 on a match, and the next, the harder they fall. The last category is just called Humphrey Bogart. So,
wow,
I'm going to give you guys the Humphrey Bogart one. Get ready for some Humphrey Bogart trivia. So, Brom, sounded like you gave it the worst review today. So you get to choose 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000 Humphrey Bogart trivia.
200. I don't know anything about Humphrey Bogart.
On May 21st, 1945, Humphrey Bogart married her.
I don't know. Audrey Hepburn.
No. Good guess, though, because they co-starred in The African Queen.
Ding, 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 ding.
Did you look it up, Kyle?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Lauren Bacall.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So, wait, you looked that up. Anyways.
I might have a little Bogart up my sleeve for my
You
segment.
might have a little something up your sleeve.
Oh, right. Okay, so Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you want? 400, 600, 800, 1,000?
Give me 1,000. I want to see how good my research was.
Bogey's breakthrough film was this 1936 feature that shares its name with a national park.
A national park? Dang it, dude. I just want to see if I have this anywhere.
Why does it look like you're looking up something, Kyle?
It kind of does look like I'm looking up something, right?
Hand check.
Yeah, I can't remember the...
National park? It's going to be hard. It's hard to figure out because it's actually not obvious from whatever source material you have in front of you.
It's not... Oh, I know it. I have it in front of me. I do know it now.
What is it?
The Petrified Forest.
Good one. Good call. Yeah. Yes.
I did look this up. Yes. I've got a whole screen of just Bogart stuff right here.
Right. So Zach, 400, 600, 800.
600.
So 600. In the Navy during this war, Bogey got a severe facial injury while escorting a prisoner.
That is
World War I.
Yes. Good call. Zach got it.
alleged. Nobody actually knows.
Points.
I know.
Points on the board.
There are a bunch of them that actually I'm not sure. Like that, the 3 middle one I think are. Oh no, the 2 of them, 400 and 600. I both think are a little shaky in terms of actual trivia because you don't actually know. Because people say it's a bar fight, which is kind of makes sense with his with the story and timeline of when he got the scar.
Because Kyle cheated. Am I winning?
Hey, whoa.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you are winning.
Yeah. Okay. So now you guys get to buzz in. So 400. As a young man, Bogey originally planned on studying for a medical degree at this Connecticut college.
Boom, 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 boom.
What's that?
Yale.
Yes. Although that's another shaky one because he got kicked out of school and stuff like that. And by all accounts, he was kind of just floating along doing whatever. And,
I don't know if he planned that.
Right, yeah.
From what I read, and which I will discuss later, I don't think that was his intention.
Right, exactly. And then 800... In 1947, Bogey joined other actors in protesting the witch hunts conducted by this committee.
God, dude. What the heck is the name?
1947, Bogey joined other actors in protesting the witch hunts conducted by this committee.
McCarthy. What the heck's the name, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it the Red Committee? Is that what it's called?
No, the official name is the House Un-American Activities Committee. Hooah.
Great.
Yeah, was kind of Bogart was pretty ahead of his times. He also petitioned for the captain in this film to be black. He thought it was a shame that there wasn't more representation of the African American sailors that were helping the war effort. He thought, well, why couldn't we have the captain here be black?
Okay.
And Warner ultimately did not do it.
Good for Bogey.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
That's what you got?
Won?
Zach, you obviously won.
What the hell? It's world wide.
On my back, and I can't lift my right arm too high. Otherwise, there's like searing pain that runs down my entire spine and up my arm. So I'm going to get that checked out on Monday.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That developed on Thursday of my COVID week last week. So that was a great day.
I had a mole removed off my leg. It ended up being just like a really badly irritated mole. and it wasn't anything bad, but I was thinking the worst. So
yeah, I've had one of my moles biopsy on one of my moles before. I have a weird mole that's like pretty big in a weird area, a private area, but it's all good.
Sure, it's not called a wart?
Yes, Kyle, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Dick.
You can show the listeners, and maybe someone will ID it.
He's talking about the one on my back, right?
No, wherever the other one is.
The funny thing about a mole.
No, that's also a classic, right? That's classic.
You already know where I was going with that.
Yeah. You even know what that is, Jamie?
I wasn't listening.
Oh my, yeah, right, man. You're always listening. You're always listening. I know you are. Come on. You ever? If I said the name,
good movie.
If I said the name McLovin, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. What movie?
Super bad.
Okay, he's good. He knows what's up. Okay, so I hit the thing a while ago. Whatever. Obviously, I'm not even doing subs tonight because I got all this information on Humphrey Bogart. So I'm gonna do Humphrey Bogart, and that's how he talks.
World.
So
why?
Bogues Worldwide. Here we go.
Worldwide.
So there's only so many submarines, and I was like, you know what? We're a movie podcast. Sometimes people are like, "Hey, I love actors," and it's like, or I love actresses, or I love movie sets, or I love scenes that movies are in, specifically holidays, those types of things, like Jamie. So he's getting it. Look, I've got him sucked in right now. He's like, yes, this is what I'm here for. So Humphrey Bogart. There's a lot of weird stuff, like you'd mentioned with the potentially transporting a prisoner to get a scar on his face. Could also be a bar fight. Could also be non-existent. So he was born allegedly on December 25th, 1899.
I don't think. I think that's real. Oh no, sorry.
What? Him being born?
No, they moved it to December, right? Wasn't that the story?
No, so pretty much everybody says that he was born December or Christmas Day, 1889. Oh, right. But then Warner Brothers, because like they own him, you know, they said that a villain in a movie would not seem evil enough if he was born on Christmas Day. So they wanted to have his birthday moved to January 1st, 1900. Insane, but whatever. It's just a sign of the times. You can do whatever the heck you want. A lot of people said that he celebrated his birthday on Christmas. His marriage certificate says his birthday's on Christmas. All kinds of stuff. So Humphrey Deforest Bogart, born in New York City. His father was a cardiopulmonary surgeon. His mother was an illustrator. And at one point, she even used a drawing of Humphrey for an advertisement for baby food. And Wikipedia says that she made $50,000 a year at the peak of her career, which, just to put this in perspective, her husband, who is a cardiopulmonary surgeon, was making $20,000. So kind of interesting. Just how I think those salaries have changed in the last 100 years. He let his parents down, as Jamie had mentioned, that Yale never happened. So that was also kind of up for dispute. I don't know why there's so much stuff up for dispute with this, but that his parents really wanted him to go to Yale, and he was in a boarding school, and nobody knows what happened. He either left, got kicked out, or was pulled out by his parents. And so instead of going to Yale, he said, you know what? I'm going to go to the U.S. Navy. And didn't find anything that said he was on subs, so that's unfortunate. He may or may not have got his famous lip scar, which also had some cosmetic work done on it later in life. But then he began working in showbiz after a stint in the Navy. And I say working in showbiz, he was a stagehand for a play crew. And after a few months working there, he got to play a Japanese butler in the 1921 play Drifting, in which he had a single line. He continued acting in theater, never took acting lessons because he figured that experience was the best teacher. And I'm going to tell you what, this isn't just like, a little bit of experience. When you look at the plays that he's done and all this type of stuff, they're talking like, okay, this play had 150 showings. This one had 260 or whatever. I mean, it is just an insane amount of acting that he was doing in theater and on Broadway and that type of stuff. After the stock market crashed, Bogert, along with a lot of other theater actors, decided, you know what, we're going to go to Hollywood. We're going to make it big. Let's do this. He signed a deal with Fox Films, making $750 a week. And during the early 1930s, he was pretty unsatisfied, actually, with what he was doing. So he began drinking quite heavily. So not ideal, but later that decade, his father also passed away and gave him a gold ring, which he actually wears in most of his films. It doesn't sound like there was a real lot of like sentimental upbringing in that house either. So this was a big deal to get something like that from his father. As Jamie had mentioned, Petrified Forest was his breakout role, and this is where people looked at him and basically said, I think I can only paraphrase the quote that I read, but he's pretty much more gangster than John Dillinger is in real life on the screen. So he absolutely killed it. And honestly, and during this time when Warner Brothers saw like how good he was doing, they started working him to the bone. From 1936 to 1940, he was averaging a movie every 2 months.
Wow.
And sometimes they say he was working on 2 movies at one time. Like crazy. As Jamie had also mentioned, he did go on to meet his wife, Lauren Bacall, and I think that was his 3rd wife, if I'm not mistaken. What'd you say?
I think it was his 4th wife.
Oh, okay. And they worked together on several movies. Unfortunately, Humphrey Bogart eventually developed esophageal cancer. He did have surgery to remove his esophagus, a few lymph nodes, a rib, and ultimately the surgery was not a success. And at the age of 57, weighing 80 pounds, Humphrey Bogart passed away on January 14th, 1957. So a career and life cut short. In his very prolific career, and we've mentioned some of these movies already, he has acted in some of these that you have most certainly heard of. Casablanca, which he was the Oscar nominee for Best Actor. African Queen, which he was the Oscar winner for Best Actor. The Caine Mutiny, which he was an Oscar nominee for Best Actor. The Maltese Falcon, High Sierra, and of course, Action in the North Atlantic. And in 1999, he was named the greatest male star of classic American cinema. And that's what I've got on our boy Humphrey.
Very nice.
Pretty great.
Yeah. Some intense stuff. But not a sub, so...
He's not a sub.
No, he's not. He's not a sub. He is.
We are sure about that.
He's a Bogart.
Nice.
Oh, there we go. All right, Brom, you got something for us, man?
Always. Tube 3 ready to fire, sir.
Commence the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it to me.
All right. So, yes, I always have something for you. Sometimes I come up with it in about a minute and a half before the podcast even starts. And tonight is one of those nights. So, you and Jamie played a board game with your friend Richmond last week, correct?
That's true.
We did. Check it out at Brambeard Gaming.
How'd it go? Was it a fun game?
Oh, super fun game. Super fun game. Very intense.
Rules intensive and very wild, but like when you start going and you get into the flow of things, Jamie knows. It's funny because Jamie's like, Kyle, I know how you play. You're going to play aggressive. And I was like, yeah, I am going to play aggressive.
No,
I don't know if I was playing aggressive enough.
Were you like, I call this move the Queen's Gambit, and then you would make a move?
No.
Oh, okay.
But you can keep it in mind because one of the things that happened is Discord crashed, not a sponsor, and we had to cut it short, and we're going to be doing a part 2 at some point in the unknown future.
What was the name of the game?
Captain
Nemo's War.
Or Nemo's War.
Jamie doesn't know. We played it for like 3 or 4 hours.
It was going for a while.
Nemo's War is what it's called. You can find it on Tabletopia, which is a computer program. I think I got a website. We were playing it on Steam, and I think you were playing it in the web browser or something, right, Jamie? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's on there. It's free on there, so you can play that. Or if you want to buy it, if you want a physical copy, I think it's like $100, somewhere around there. Or you can play it for free on a computer. So I don't know.
Well, very cool. Glad you enjoyed it. I'm a board game fan myself, and I have compiled my top 5 board games list. So consider these recommendations. These are all, in my opinion, very good, just games you can pick up right out of the box. Very fun game, especially if you're into that modern style of board game, the Euro style of board game, minimal, RNG. It's more about, skill and strategy and depth. So these are my top 5 board games. In fact, I had a epic gamer weekend with my buddy Tyler over the break, as well as his wife, and we played 18 games in a weekend. We just crammed. I threw out an arbitrary number. I'm like, we're going to play 17 games this weekend, and then we made it a mission to do that. In fact, we had an 18th. We had an encore lap.
Like different board games, or just like 18?
Different board games.
Oh my gosh.
17 different board games, 18 games played in total.
Wow.
And had a blast, and we were not tired or sick of it by the end of the weekend. We were like, let's do it again. He's already trying to get me penciled in for a weekend in February. So gonna do it again. But these are my top 5 board games. I even added one that I discovered in the 17 that I played with him. Number 5. This is a classic. This is kind of for many people, this is the first foray into the Euro style board game when these started to really become popular in the mid 2000s. It's Settlers of Catan. I give this
solid. That's a pillar.
Yeah,
it's solid.
It is. And has a 9.0 on my board game rankings.
Dang. I played that one time, and it was at a party, and somebody was trying to explain this game to me, and I had already consumed 2 bottles of wine, and I was on my 3rd, and I was just like, yeah, here we go. Let's settle this land.
That is not an appropriate time to play Settlers, in my opinion.
No.
But did you say 1 bottle of wine a day is good for you, right?
Yes, that is the same.
I think it's 1 glass of wine per night.
No.
Well, it depends on the size of the glass.
And then if you're a 60-year-old woman named Karen, you've probably got a giant glass that has that painted on the side that says 1 glass of wine per night, right? And then it's basically you can pour a whole bottle in it.
There you go, man.
Or a guy named Kyle.
Figured out.
I've just seen that one too many times. Number 4 is the game I played recently, owned by my friend. It's Airlines Europe. It is very reminiscent of Ticket to Ride. If people like that game, Ticket to Ride's a little too light for me. Airlines Europe ratchets it up and has sort of an investment element to it, where you invest in what airlines you think are going to be doing best by the end of the game, but you're still sort of playing almost like how you play Ticket to Ride, and you're trying to make your own railways across the continent. Airlines is very similar in that regard, but you have this extra wagering element to it, which is really fun, and it pays out on your investments. So it's a good one. Give it a 9.0 as well. Number 3 is Splendor. This is an engine building game. You can you have to collect gems to lure wealthy nobles to your kingdom and create a powerful realm with prestige and honor in your gemstone mines. So this one you collect resources and build mines. It is a 9.0 for me, and that one I think is pretty mass produced. You can find them at like Walmarts and Targets and things like that.
Yeah, it's funny. That's actually how Kyle got me onto this podcast. He said, "Come over and see these gems I have at the house." And I said, "Oh, that sounds great." Yeah. And he lured me over to the house with the gems, and all of a sudden I was on this podcast.
It was pretty incredible.
Which gems did he have? Which combination of gems?
That's the thing. He didn't have any gems.
Oh God!
It was all an illusion.
Wow.
I know. It was pretty good.
I would probably call that cheating, but
well, some people would. But then this just blossomed into something that Jamie never anticipated.
Right.
Number 2 is Lords of Waterdeep. This is set in the D&D mythos, but really has very little to do with D&D. It is a worker placement style board game, and is ranked very highly on like Board Game Geek. It is out of thousands and thousands of games. I think it is ranked in the top 50 still games of all time. Very fun game. Again, worker placement, meaning that you take a certain set number of actions per turn and you try to get the most valuable commodities on the board and muscle other players out. And in this one, you have to complete quests. So you place your workers and collect resources and try to fulfill victory conditions on quest cards.
And this is not to be confused with
got that high fantasy theme. Go ahead, Jamie. What's your joke?
I was going to say, not to be confused. And it's not a joke. It's just informing the listener not to be confused with Lords of the Deep, the submarine movie that we watched for this podcast.
That is a joke, but yes, it is not.
That's not a joke. That's. I feel like people would be confused. I just want to make sure they don't think those two are the same thing. Because Lords of the Deep, terrible movie. You're saying, good game.
Correct.
And was it rating?
Fantastic game. I give this a 9.5. I actually have 2 10s, and neither of them are on the list. It's kind of like when I did my guitar riffs, and I'm like, you know what? The Iron Man guitar riff and Smoke on the Water is too good. We're not even going to add it on the list. So, number 1 is another 9.5 for me, though. It is Dominion. It is a deck building board game where you try to build a efficient deck to score victory points, where you try to draw more cards, take more actions, and see how you can outwit the other players at the table. Awesome game. The 2 10s for me are Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, but those are much less board games in my opinion, as they're just really not accessible to all audiences. So these, though, on the other hand, if you're a fan of this whole board game trend sweeping the world, are 5 very highly recommendable board games. And that's it.
I would also recommend, I know you haven't played it yet, but when we did talk to Commander Andy, you have got to try They Come Unseen, especially for your weekend you're talking about. That game, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. I think did you, Jamie?
Yes.
I'm going to look and see if it's on Amazon still.
Was that the one we played with people?
Yes.
We played with other people? Okay. Yeah. I'm forgetting which ones. We've played multiple submarine games. The one we never played was Captain Sonar, right?
Yes, I have that sitting
we
here.
Never played it.
Yeah.
Always love good board games.
What's your favorite, Zach?
Oh my gosh. Whoa, what just happened in the stream?
Okay. Don't you even worry about it.
Okay.
I go to post a link of the board game, and then it all goes away.
Favorite? I'm going to have to take a minute on that. I won't be able to answer that tonight because I'm hard pressed, because I love board games. But so many of them I play like once or twice, because it's just hard to find the time with enough people. And then when you do, it's hard to explain it to them. And then some people just don't want to listen, and they don't want to play like some strategic kind of style game. They'd rather just do some other stuff. So I don't know, but I have the kind of cardboard game I've played a lot of would have been back in college with Killer Bunnies and the Quest for the Magic Carrot.
Yes, I thought you were going to say that.
I always recommend that one because it is so fun. It can be so simplistic, or it could be incredibly in depth with all the expansions. So that's a really fun one, and
it gets people's blood pumping.
It does. It gets people's blood going, but it's not it's not total RNG. I mean, you can really be strategic with it and screw people over big time, which is really fun always to do. But
see, Jamie and I played that with our wives and another buddy, and then he like really scaled the rules down, and I was just used to what we always did, and I was like, all right, the game was over in like, I don't know, a half hour. I was like, dude, this should take like 4 to 5 hours.
That's the other thing you think about, right? Nothing sounds more fun to me than sitting on a Saturday for like 9 hours, just playing through just a few different games, like epic games like that. Not like what's the one, like code names, stuff like that. Like those are fun party games, but that's not. Mm-hmm. I want to sit around like Ben. When I went to your house, and maybe it was one of those 5 that you said. Was it Splendor that you showed me, or is that
probably Dominion?
Dominion is the one that you showed me, and I loved that one. And the other name and the other ones you listed off, besides Katan, that I have, and I love that one. They're all on the top board game list websites, and I've always wanted to get into that style more, but you need the people, right? And it's not going to just be a one-off time, because usually you take the one-off is you learning it, and then you need to play it like 5-10 more times. So
I picked up quite a few, and then the pandemic happened. So
right, yeah.
Like right after we did Godzilla movie month, I was at Target, and there was this like Funko Godzilla game, and I looked it up, and it's really highly rated. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this. We're gonna play this with a few guys, and then COVID.
Yeah,
stomped all of your dreams like Godzilla.
It did. So it's still sitting in my closet, waiting.
I tell you what, actually, I just thought I can't sit here and say it's my favorite, but it is absolutely one of my favorites, and it is incredibly simple, and it's not strategic really, but it's oh my God, what's it called? It's so much fun. I love it. It's it's when you bet. It's like how many copies of Halo 3 are sold now?
Wits and Wagers.
Wits and Wagers. It's just such a fun.
Oh, that is a good one.
Game. And I always get a kick out of hearing those random answers when it's just like, what year was like, I mean, sometimes it's just like, what year was the Declaration of Independence signed? And but then somebody like guesses 300 years off. It's just like, what are you doing?
My favorite Wits and Wagers story, I was playing with my friend, and I think his fiance was with them, and then his parents, and his dad had just the funniest answer of all time. The topic was, guess how many hairs compose the average human eyebrow? Like how many individual hairs compose the average human eyebrow? All right. What would your guys' guesses be? Mine was, I don't know, like 237 or something.
Talk like the top and the bottom.
Just an eyebrow. Just like
eyebrow. I thought you said eyebrow.
Yeah,
I think 300 is a good guess.
I think it has to be higher. The average, I get probably like what, 550, 600.
I don't remember what the answer ended up being, but I remember Steve's answer, just dead ass, straight face, guessed 17.
He thought it was Irish. He had to think it was Irish.
He did not. He's like
that.
He was like looking and staring. He got real close and was looking at everybody's eyebrows. He's like, I guess it could be in the hundreds, but I think 17's a fine guess.
Like reminds me of The Office. You're a professional accountant. It's like
he's a very smart guy too. But in that regard, he is pretty funny.
I love that style of stuff. It cracks me up when someone's so out of left field with some of their answers. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's
Speaking
a great
of out
one.
of left field, do you have any Zach Fang?
Hit it.
Zach Facts, it's Zach Facts. When you're going down, get some Zach Facts. When you're going.
No, I don't.
No,
I'm just kidding. I do.
that was Zach Facts. That's one Zach Facts. That counts as one.
It's just smash cuts.
Over under in the age of Zachary with COVID, 3.5 Zach facts.
I'm going, well, as long as we're not counting the first one, I'm going under.
Under. I'm also going under.
I'm going to go under as well.
Okay. All right. Fact number 1. Fact number 1. On the Dollar General $5 bin version of the movie, it included an alternate ending when the U-boat is struck and begins to take on water, and when the Germans are about to die, Yakety Sax starts playing. Even though that song came out like 20 years after.
I like that though. Can you imagine if everything else in the movie and then that just hit you? You'd be like, what the hell did I just watch?
You know, putting Yakety Sax is a pretty solid go-to in a lot of scenes.
I always just know it as the Benny Hill song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next. Fact number 2. Brazzers is coming out with an all-star porn star cast with their reimagining of this tale. And it's titled Ass Action in the North Atlantic.
Nice.
Wow. I like North Atlantic. That's going to be something to look out for. Can't wait till we get to review that episode. Allegedly, there's got to be a sub, right?
Oh, there's more than one sub.
Oh, man.
A wolf pack, if you will. Get it?
Oh, see,
fact number 3.
If you're just listening, you can't see Jamie do that wink that he just did.
I'm more of a lone wolf guy, unless I'm at the wolf family reunion and they start to do the wolf wheelbarrow races.
Anyways.
Number 3.
It's a Norm Macdonald joke. I got to give him credit.
I like Norm. Some people don't.
I love all those just really bad, dry humor jokes that he just starts laughing at himself. So good.
Fact number 3. Wait a minute. Steve Jarvis? Haven't I heard that name before? Yeah, you have. Steve Jarvis is a politician of the North Carolina Senate who won the election last year and assumed office January 1st of 2021.
Wait, is that real? What's going on?
Sounds like a real fact.
The Steve Jarvis.
The Steve Jarvis.
Is that a Twitter handle?
Fact number 4.
No.
Oh.
Ever listen to Submersion and think, where are the stories about the female characters? Well, here's one for you. Remember Sarah Jarvis? Meet the real-life Sarah Jarvis, a general practitioner working in Shepherd's Bush, London, England. She's also a regular guest on the Jeremy Vine Show. You can find her at Dr. Sarah Jarvis.
Wow.
That's it.
That's what you got?
That's all I got.
Those seem like real facts. Maybe.
I don't know what the heck's going on.
They're characters from the movie.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I got you. No, now I got what you're picking. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
My goodness. Well, wow. All right. That's Action at North Atlantic, episode 128.
I just looked. They Come Unseen is sold out on Amazon right now. It's got a lot of great reviews, but I can't buy it if I wanted it.
Well,
which I do want it. That is a good idea. I'd like to play that with my friend.
You'll just have to come visit, man.
Well, actually, I'm going to England this summer, and maybe I will play it with Commander Benford in person.
That'd be awesome. That'd be.
If you're listening, Andy, hit me up. We'll play some They Come Unseen live. I'll be vaccinated by then. All right, somebody say something funny.
Thank you for listening to Submersion. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating wherever you listen. Want to interact with us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also love to get messages from all of you. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or just anything you'd like to share, please email us at macestudios@gmail.com.